everyone. So this is Priyanka Srinivasan presenting you your messy minds. Okay. So before we go for today's content, I just want to thank each and every one of you out there who gave me such valuable responses and beautiful suggestions for my first video. I actually never thought that I would be getting so many responses from the audience side for my first video itself. So thanks to all those good souls out there. And I will keep up your expectations on. So there were few suggestions for me to take the video in Tamil also. So we are actually working on it, and people out there, please stay tuned to have Tamil contents related to psychology. So now let's go to the content. So last episode we actually saw about the birth of psychology, like it includes the history of psychology. Now coming to today's content, in the second episode we will be looking into how psychology was brought up and what are the different lifespans of psychology. Okay. To begin with, I would like to start with William Wundt, who was the founder of experimental psychology. So, William Wundt gave us the first school of psychology, which is known to be the structuralism. So, according to structuralists, what they actually focused was on, it's mainly focused on the structures of consciousness. When I say structures of consciousness, it includes all the mental processes which has structures. Okay. So, in this school, they actually were focused on the researches that has to be conducted in the psychological field to make it a scientific study also. So, now our baby psychology started standing on its own foot with all the researches that were conducted in the field of psychology. Now, coming to the next phase, that is nothing but the functionalism, which was given by William James. So, William James believed that psychology is something that has to be concerned with or focused on the functions of consciousness. So, when I say functions of consciousness, it majorly means like how people perceive out the changes in the today's world, which is keep changing each and every day, and how people are ready to respond to the changes that are happening around them. So, what are the functions of consciousness in the world is what they were mainly focused on. So, there were few researches that were conducted. So, this became an evidence for the evolutionary psychology. Now, third school or the third thought of psychology was nothing but the behaviorism. So, behaviorism was actually given by John B. Watson. And people were all hearing about structuralism and functionalism. So, they were a little bored, which was talking about consciousness. So, they quickly accepted this behaviorism when John B. Watson put it out to the world. So, they started knowing like what is that people going to respond or what is that people going to say for others' responses or other stimuli. So, that was the main focus of behaviorism, like what people do or say. Now, these are the three phases of psychology. Now, coming to B.F. Skinner, he is actually a behaviorist. So, he believed that anything that does not have a proper structure, like if you see the inner mental processes, they don't have a proper structure, right? So, that shouldn't be included in psychology is what B.F. Skinner thought. Now, our psychology is moving into adolescent period. So, usually if you see, adolescents will have lots of challenges to face. Likewise, psychology also had lots of challenges to face. So, if you see, psychology had challenges like when Sigmund Freud came in and told that psychology should be focused on all the unconsciousness and the inner mental processes. So, this was a major struggle for psychology to establish on its own. Now, coming to other challenges, they were humanistic approaches. So, humanists thought that psychologists or other people should be focusing on the actions that were repeated on a particular basis based on their goal or based on their plans for the future. So, they thought that certain actions are repeated continuously if there is a positive output of that action, and certain actions are stopped in between if are not repeated if they are going to give some negative impacts. So, that is what was given by humanistic approaches. So, this was all about the struggles. Now, coming from the childhood, adolescent, and now we are moving into the young adulthood of psychology. So, if you see, young adulthood period was mainly of the modern psychology. If you see, modern psychology didn't have any kind of boundaries and all, because that was not at all bound to any kind of structuralism or functionalism or behaviorism. No boundaries, just the modern psychology. That was the young adulthood of psychology. Now, moving on from young adulthood comes the middle adulthood of psychology. So, in this particular middle adulthood of psychology, more of technological influences started interrupting the psychology in a positive way. So, there were lots of researches that were conducted in psychology, which included more of technology also. And there we come to the end of the second episode, which talks about the various lifespans of psychology. So guys over there, stay tuned. You will be talking about more and more contents related to psychology, which will be interesting for you. So let's meet you all in the next episode. Bye.